Hi everyone, it's Shelby here. Welcome back to A Little Literary Love. I'm glad y'all are with me today because today I'm going to be doing my end of December wrap up where I'll be talking about all the books that I read in the end of December. So these are the last books that I read in 2024. But before we get into talking about all of those books, please make sure if you are enjoying my videos, you are enjoying my content, make sure you're hitting that thumbs up button and also subscribe if you haven't already. I post videos every Thursday and Sunday, and we're going to get right into all these books. I was reading a lot of holiday romances. I am still kind of in the mood for holiday romances, even now with it being January. I read 6 books at the end of December, so we're going to talk about those real quick. First up, we have How My Neighbor Stole Christmas by Megan Quinn. This is a rom-com romance. This is a How the Grinch Stole Christmas retelling. This one we have Story. She's our female main character. She moves into the town of Kringle. This is a Christmas town. The whole town loves Christmas. They have a holiday competition every year. Anyway, she's moving into this town to help out her great aunt who has fallen and broken her hip. Her aunt always enters this competition every year, but is sad that she cannot this year because of her ailment. And so she wants Story to enter into the competition in her stead. This pisses off our male main character of the story, Cole, who has lived in the town his entire life. He is known as a Grinch character in town because he never participates in any of the Christmas shenanigans that the town puts on. But he feels that the winner of the competition should go to a townie. And he's also just really doesn't like Story because they had a miscommunication, falling out of sorts when they were younger. So he enters into this competition just in spite of Story, basically. This one I gave 3 stars. I did not really care for this one. It had some positives to it, but I just had many issues with this story. I just thought it was kind of meh. It was definitely funny. It was very laugh out loud, which you're gonna find in like every Megan Quinn book. It was very funny. I also liked all the nods to How the Grinch Stole Christmas. She did a very good job of making this like a good retelling, I felt like. However, I really disliked the characters of this story. I did not like Story's character whatsoever. I thought she was very stuck up. And I didn't care for that. I also didn't really care for a lot of the characters in the town, how they really didn't like Cole. However, there's trigger warnings in this for grief. Cole is working through a lot of grief because his parents died around the holiday season years ago, and he still has not quite gotten over that. If you really ever would get over that. So I didn't care for how badly the town was kind of against him, and like how he was like this Grinch kind of character. The pacing of the story also felt very off. It is a very, very long story. It's like almost 500 pages or somewhere around there. For a rom-com, that's really long. I listened to this on audiobook, which I feel like is the best way to go, also because it is a full cast audiobook, which is pretty nice. But otherwise, had I not been listening to it on audiobook, I honestly may have just DNF'd this one because it is so long and it's hard to get through. I also, like I said, the pacing of it felt very off because the whole first half of the story felt like it was just talking about the competition. There was nothing else going on except for the competition. Then the second half, we get to them starting this like relationship. However, it is mostly smut. There's not a ton going into, like, they have some meaningful conversations here and there, but it's mostly them just wanting to have lots of sex together. And I don't know, it just felt very off. I have issues with a lot of Megan Quinn books. I wanted to like this one much more than I did, and that's why I end up continuing to pick up Megan Quinn stuff, because I want to like it. I just don't. So I think I might have to put this author in one of those authors that's just not for me. I don't know that I'm going to be continuing on with reading any more of her stuff. It's just, I know lots of people love her. I'm just not one of them. Then we have The Nightmare Before Christmas by Sarah Rosh. This is a paranormal romance. This one we have magical beings that are holidays, basically. So we have the Prince of Christmas. He, at the very beginning of this book, made this really big mishap happen, and he is sulking and drinking, and he ends up kissing this stranger. But now, years later, he still can't stop thinking about that stranger that he kissed. Now his father is the king of Christmas. He is Santa, and his father is wanting to create an alliance with the Easter realm to help secure more joy, which joy equates to magic. Like, that's how they get all their magic, is how much joy they generate from their holidays. So he's wanting to create an alliance with Easter, and in order to do so, he's wanting his son, our main character, to get married to the princess of Easter. However, Halloween gets wind of this and is worried that this will make those two holidays too powerful, and that then Halloween might become a holiday that gets forgotten. So they throw their ring into the hat, or their hat into the ring, excuse me, and they want the Prince of Halloween to also vie for the hand of the Princess of Easter. And that person happens to be the guy that our Prince from Christmas kissed and can't stop thinking about. So, and of course, out of the three of them, like, none of them actually want to get married. They're just doing what their parents tell them to do, which causes a big riff in this story. This one I ended up giving 3.5 stars. I did not like this one as much as I was hoping to like this story. It was kind of a letdown, if I'm going to be honest. I did think some of it was really cute. I enjoyed our two main protagonists, like the love interest of this story. I did enjoy them as characters. However, this was very angsty. It was much more angsty than I was anticipating it to be. There is a big rift between our Prince of Christmas and his father, and also his mother. His mother has been absent, so there's trigger warnings for an absent parent. His father also has some like gaslighting that he does, and definitely does not have his children's best interests at heart. Very corrupt. There's also, I'm going to put trigger warnings for mental health in here. I do not feel like the mental health was very well portrayed in this one. I also don't I don't remember seeing that the author put content warnings for mental health, even though there's definitely mental health things that are going on with these characters. So I didn't care for that. Big other thing that I didn't care for in this book are Easter Princess. I feel like she's very poorly described. She comes off, just from the very little descriptions that I picked up, I think the author was trying to make this character a character of color, but however, it did not come off well. There's just a couple times where the author mentioned that the character wears her hair in box braids. And then there's a moment where the Easter Princess says something along the lines of like, why do I always hang out with all you white boys? So it just made it seem like she was trying to make, I don't know. Maybe this character is not a character of color, but if she was trying to make this character diverse, it was so poorly done. So poorly done. I just feel like a lot of white authors are trying to put more characters of color in their books just to make them look better, because it's like, hey, look at me, I have diversity in my books, but they're not actually putting the extra work in to make their characters diverse and make these characters a full-fledged complex character, because this character was not. It just felt like it was an afterthought, and I didn't really care for that. I had a lot of issues with that. So 3.5. I might bump that down. I don't know. Then I read Hookshot by Kennedy Ryan. This is the third book of her Hoop series. This is a series, like a basketball romance series. In this one, we have Keenan and Lotus. Keenan is a basketball star and Lotus is in the world of fashion. They know each other through mutuals. They both know the main characters of book 1 of this series, and those characters have been kind of trying to get them together, but they just haven't really worked out. They live on opposite sides of the country. However, Keenan is going to be in New York for the summer because he is going to be there. He is meeting with the fashion brand that Lotus works for because they are wanting him to be a watch model for them. He's also there because his ex-wife and daughter live there. He is navigating through co-parenting with his ex-wife, co-parenting his teenage daughter that is going to school in New York. So he is determined to woo Lotus and show her that they should be in a relationship together. However, Lotus has sworn off of men. She has sworn off of relationships and especially sex, because the last time that she had sex, she basically had a panic attack. So she is wanting to try to work on like figuring out what is going on and fix herself. And then in the meantime, they start up a friendship of sorts to start getting to know one another because they have amazing chemistry and they are very drawn to one another. It's just Lotus wants to work through some things first. So I gave this one 4.5 stars. I really enjoyed this one. I love Kennedy Ryan's writing. There's so many of her books that are so good, especially this one. This one definitely has a lot of trigger warnings in it. It is a very emotional story. I cried several times while reading this book, but we have trigger warnings for sexual assault as a minor, which is what Lotus is trying to work through. So this has happened in the past, but there is one moment in the story that Lotus is doing almost like a group therapy session where she finally like opens up about what happened to her. There's also a physical assault that happens. There is cheating that happens in the past. This is how Keenan and his ex-wife got a divorce, because his ex-wife cheated on him. So definitely just forewarning you if you are wanting to pick these stories up. I really enjoyed this one. Like I said, it's very emotional. I love the depth of the characters. The characters are always Kennedy Ryan's like biggest strong point, especially her female main characters. I really enjoyed Lotus. I thought she was such a powerhouse. She's so independent and confident in herself. And I definitely applaud her for finally like seeking help for her past traumas and working through those. So I thought it was phenomenal. The biggest drawback to this, why I didn't bump this one up to 5 stars, is just because there is a lot of drama with Keenan's ex that is going on in the story, and I'm just not a big like ex drama person. I just don't really care for that in my books. It's not fun. Then I read Guarded by the Krampus by Cassie Alexander. This is another paranormal romance novella. This is a holiday romance. This one is about our female main character. She is an artist and she is being targeted by assassins for stealing a list that exposes the corrupt empire that assassinated her parents. So she goes to the Monster Security Agency, which is what this novella is a part of, that book series. And she has assigned a bodyguard, and that is our male main character of the story, who I cannot remember what type of creature monster he is, but people think he looks like Krampus. He is very attracted to our female main character and thinks that she might be his fated mate. This one I gave 3.5 stars. This one was okay. I liked the characters. I just didn't really care for the plot. I felt like it was very poorly explained. It also felt very rushed. This honestly, it should have just been a full novella. Or not a novella, excuse me. It should have been a full-length novel instead of a novella, which is my issue with a lot of novellas that I read. I feel like authors try to cram too much into such a shortened book, and where they should have just honestly written a full novel. So this one's okay. This does have disability rep in here. Our female main character is blind, so I thought that was interesting. Then I read Love Lights by Emily Antoinette. This is a paranormal romance novella. This is a male-male romance. This one is between Caleb. He is dealing with the loss of his grandfather. He has moved into his grandfather's home, and it is Christmas time, so he's putting up all the Christmas decorations just in memoriam of his grandfather because his grandfather loved the holiday season. He wants to put all this stuff up for the last time before he sells his grandfather's home. And he is out on the roof trying to put up lights, and he ends up falling. And then in swoops in our other character of the story, Thomas, who is a Mothman, and he swoops in and rescues Caleb. And in doing so, realizes that Caleb is his fated mate. So this one I gave 5 stars. I really enjoyed this novella. I just thought it was so heartwarming. Both of these main characters are definitely cinnamon rolls, so I just loved it. It was so gooey and squishy, and it was just such a feel-good story that I had to give it 5 stars. I enjoyed every second of reading this story. It was just so heartwarming and adorable watching these two characters fall in love. And they were just so wholesome and sweet, even with a lot of the steamy stuff that they were doing. It was so good. I loved it. And then the last book that I read for December, and the last book that I read for 2024 is Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. I'm probably saying that wrong. I'm not sure. This is a nonfiction book. This is a nonfiction book about the world of wealth and finance. In this one, the author discusses the importance of financial literacy and how to get rich out of the rat race, or so he coins. And he does this by comparing lessons and things he was taught by 2 father figures in his life. One, his actual father, who was very well educated but was poor all of his life. And then the other one, it was his best friend's dad, who was very rich but did not have the quote unquote like education that his other father did. So I give this one 4 stars. I thought this was very interesting, mostly because I know nothing about the world of finance and wealth. So I just thought that some of his lessons that he put forth was very, very thought provoking, and that I could appreciate that. And I'm just, trying to learn more about different things that I don't know about. Yeah, so I enjoyed this one. So that is going to be all the books that I read for December. I ended up reading 14 books, which I think is the highest amount of books that I have read in a month in 2024. So pretty proud of that. It was a pretty great reading month. However, I did not do all that great with all of my reading goals that I had for 2024 with December's month. I did read my 1 nonfiction book, so yay. I did not read physical books. I had a goal to read 2 physical books. Didn't get to that. And I also had a goal to read 3 books by diverse authors. I only read 2 for the month, and that would be Kennedy Ryan and then this Robert Kiyosaki guy. So I did not do great on those goals, but I'm hopeful that I will do better with my new goals that I have set for myself. So I have a video talking about those new goals. I'm hopeful that I will do better moving into 2025 with meeting my goals, and continuing just trying to learn about new things and diversify my reading. And I talk more about that as well in my January reading plans with the books that I picked out to read in January. Like I said, I'm very hopeful that I can continue to improve with my reading. So that is going to be it for this long video, my wrap up. I hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, make sure you are hitting that thumbs up button, and again, subscribe if you haven't already. Leave a comment down below with some of your favorite books that you read in December. I love hearing from you all. Otherwise, that is going to be it, and I will see you on the next one. Bye, guys.